My name is Adnan Abdul Ghani, and I am a thematic expert on migration from Save the Children. I work with Save the Children in Sweden and also work with the Save the Children in Europe on a policy level. So I'm also a member of the EU Commission expert group on migration, asylum, and integration right now for the next 2 years. I will just start to say that myself, I arrived as a refugee from Syria, 2014, in the end of 2014. I have experience, my background, my educational background is an IT engineer specialized in research and development. And mainly I worked with innovation, I worked with project management my whole life. And also I have a passion for sports because I'm also a master scuba diver trainer with the BADI, BADI, the Dive Association for dive instructors. So I train dive instructors as a hobby when I was working in South Korea and China in my past life. So this is my passion. I came to Sweden as a refugee myself because I didn't have a choice. With all my educational background, with experience working around the world, I found myself without passport. I had a kid that I couldn't register even, So it's like what everyone said yesterday, Khalida, and today in the panel, and Magid said that, you don't have a choice to be a refugee. It's not something you choose. It's not something that you take it out privilege, We don't have choice, but you have choice. So this is something we have to discuss later on about. So I arrived to Sweden, and the first thing that struck me in the first day, because I had expectation, I had full confidence on my potential, my experience, my knowledge, my skills. First thing I arrived is that the nice, somehow wrong, undignified reception that we have in Europe. I'm sorry to say nice, but undignified, because you go to a refugee camp where no one, you could go for 1.5 years, 2 years until someone asks you, what is your name? Why you're coming here? And also no one will ask you what is your skill, what you have done, what you can contribute. So the first person I met in refugee camp in a very remote area on top of mountain in Sweden, it was a sportsman, very famous sportsman from Syria. I knew him only from the news. And he was an inspiration, actually. And I was excited to, oh my God, he's here. And I found a broken man, angry, making fights everywhere, feeling that what am I doing here? I met my professor from the university, my English teacher, who was a role model for us when we were in university. He always encouraged us to go out, try to do things for yourself, try to organize things in secret, because we're not allowed to do that in Syria. You go to jail if you organize things. But he was really a person who inspired us. I met him with symptoms of depression, never went out of his room for weeks, thinking that this is a systematic way of discriminating us. Angry from the situation, angry from everyone. And it hit me that those really people with the high ambitions, with all that, long history, it took them only 6 months to reach that stage in a remote, isolated refugee camp. Will I be like this in 6 months? No, we have to do something, we have to change. So I talked to my teacher and that sportsman. I said, what do you want? What you're expecting? Are you waiting for an 80-year-old sweet lady to come to teach you Swedish? To come to introduce the society for you? Why you don't use what you are good at? You're an English teacher, why don't you gather people around you and start to teach them English? Practice it so you don't lose it. You're a sportsman. We have 300 kids. And I forget to tell you that I arrived to the biggest asylum camp in Sweden. 1,500 people lived in that camp. We were a whole small city by ourselves. We have 300 children in that place. Go to organize sports activities for kids, for others, for adults, for everyone. Use what you are good at. Reclaim your self-esteem. I'm a computer. I work with IT. I can find, if we can find a computer, we can start to organize some computer sessions. We start to go door to door to knock on people and say what you're good at, what you can bring, how we can help each other. In less than, I think, a week, we had, I can remember exactly the number is exactly over 200 people coming saying, I want to contribute, I have a skill, I can do something. We start to self-organize ourselves around skills that we're good at. Even people with no skills or education, they came up and they say, okay, I'm realizing the situation that I'm staying here for 1 year, how I can upscale myself, what I can learn something new, use that time. This is the methodology we start to use it. So we start to talk to each other, don't lose that time. Let's make the best of it, In the same time, we start dialogue with volunteers, the nice volunteers, very nice. Organization, working with refugees. We start the dialogue about, you don't need to babysit the refugee. If you look at refugees as victims only. And the most dangerous case, in best case, you look at them as victims and you try to help them. In worst case scenario, you treat them as a charity case. We say, yes, we are victims. We are victims of wars. We are victims of dictatorship, hunger, smugglers, death boats and death roads. But you forget one thing, that we survive all of that, and we're here. People who have the courage to take a death boat, knowing that, in this year, 1,300 people lost their life in the Mediterranean. Those people hold a lot of power. People who walk half Europe to find a new beginning for themselves. Those are not people that only victims. They are survivors, they are true fighters. How you as a society can harvest this power, how you can use it, When you push that button on a person, that I'm helping you, I will become like paralyzed, like, help me, do things for me, can you? It will keep on. I will keep expecting you to do things for me. If we look at participation, because we heard a lot of words about integration and, a lot of people misunderstand, and we couldn't understand, the word exactly, very misleading. Assimilation, or you want me to have eventually in 5-6 years to have a blonde hair and blue eyes? I don't know what you want me to do to become you. We define our own understanding of integration. We created an organization led by refugees. We call it the support group network. That means if you have an initiative, we come together around you and we support you with your initiative. And we start to do initiatives for the society around us, collaborating as equal partners, not as charity cases. When we define integration, this is our own understanding of integration. Integration is participation, is the equal right to participate in that act that we call integration. Integration is a two-way thing. You heard now that these words a lot, It's a two-way thing. It's not one thing. It's not something that you do for me. I have to participate in it equally. But when we talk about equally participation, in a lot of forms, when we start to say, yes, you have to work with them, not work for them. You have to include refugees. Yeah, we had a lot of cases, and I've seen it in all over Europe, projects that invite refugees to participate, but on what ground? Only as a decorative place. Yes, I have a refugee. You want a refugee? Yes, our project have a refugee. Here is a refugee, And the refugee sitting there and not knowing what's going on, I don't know how to participate. I can speak out my mind for one time, I feel, yeah, I'm included, but I don't have the tools to be influential. I don't have the tools to be your equal partner. Approach of our projects through sports, through culture, through all other education, through all sectors towards refugee should be based on actual active participation. That means from day one you arrive to my city, to my country, I look at you as my partner in the future of this country or the future of the world. That means if I look at you as partner, I'll provide you with different tools. I will provide you with tools, information, knowledge, resources to become an equal partner, real partner that you can contribute to our work. This is very important because we talk a lot about integration and participation, but we have to define exactly what is participation. And I'm talking from a refugee point of view. You know, in a lot of time, it brings me that picture, and especially my first few year or 2 years in Sweden or in Europe. Like, I were invited, or I attended a lot of conferences about refugees. I attended a lot of meetings about refugees. You know, they're discussing refugee challenges, solutions, how we can integrate them to the job market, how we integrate them to the sports clubs, how we can do. But when you look at the room, there's no refugees in the room. Bring me always that picture from Saudi Arabia a few years back, when they had that conference about women's rights, and 400 men in the room, no one woman discussing women's rights. It's the same. So first phase, the importance of including refugees. The second one, actually, how you can include them to participate as equal partners. How you can provide them with tools, resources, and information where they become an actual partners in that work. And when we work actually with the refugee, you know, in my work with Save the Children, I had the privilege to go around in Europe to look at projects, to see hundreds of countless projects. And from our experience as refugees, I can give you a small criteria of how you can create really, really good to some point, if your idea is good, integration project. Before you apply for the funds, co-create with the targeted group, co-create with refugees. Exactly what we heard in the panel. Invite the communities, talk to them, co-design and co-create with them what we're gonna apply for. Make them part of the planning for the projects. If you get fund, make them part of the implementation, not only as participants. Open spaces for them to lead. That means give them enough trainings and competence. They had it all inside them. Those people with power, they just need you to reach their full potential. Give them tools to let them reach their full potential. So make them part of the implementation of the projects, and then make them part of the evaluation of these projects. This is how you create a successful integration cycle. This is simply for us. We've been going everywhere advocating that, you know, this is how we think about inclusion. This is how we think about integration. This is how we think it should be for us. Regardless of those people stay or not. If you treat me as a partner from day one I arrive, regardless if I'm gonna go back to my country, regardless of my legal status, if I get resident to stay or not, you're investing in me. You're investing in your future. If I stayed in the country and I got residence, wow, it's a good investment. We're gonna do good things together later on. If I want back to my country, I did not waste my time here. I'm coming back with the new skills, with talents, with self-confidence. I'm coming back to rebuild my country. It's a win-win situation for all of us. This is why I think it's very important to look at that part from what yesterday Khalida said, what today you heard from the panel, and also what we will hear later on from our, you know, the leaders of the sessions. It's very important to listen to them, to have a dialogue, real dialogue with them about, you know, all these thematics with when working with inclusion, representation, participation in all levels of activity and policy making level. It's very important to have a real dialogue on how really we can create spaces of partnership, how we can co-create with the refugees. Khalida, I think it's your time to shine. Yes. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Adnan. It's very inspiring to hear him, and I admire his work and his passion. You already heard my story, and some of you already heard many times my story. So this time I'll be focusing a lot on the story of refugees, especially refugee women. and why it's important to include them in society, why it's important and how we can help them to be included and integrated in society. Before in the panel was great discussion, especially Nagin touched upon so many good topics and especially the challenges that women and girls from minority backgrounds, not only the refugees, are facing and challenging. When I arrived in a refugee center, and like I have been in different refugee centers in Norway, also in Denmark, in many different refugee centers, from transit centers to permanent camps, that's what we call it. The environment in the refugee center itself, no matter like what you have been through in your country with all the challenges you face and you leave your country, when you arrive in those refugee centers, the environment is so stressful itself. It's just waiting for an answer. You're waking up every morning to see there is actually an answer from an immigration service, a decision that they tell you you're in or you should get out of our country. It's so much stress and anxiety that people are going through. Sometimes good people come and offer a lot of activities, which is fantastic, and I always appreciate that. But because those activities, which is designed for refugees, unfortunately, most of the time, refugees were not involved in designing those activities. Their voices were not there. And most of the time, those activities were designed based on our thinking of, like, for example, what a European woman think or how they live based on their culture and experience. So when they come with those type of activities, then women cannot feel to be included and they feel like it's not for us. And those are organizations then come up and say, like, we offered something, but the women don't want to come. We went there, we offered the activity, but the women are so shy. And then we leave and say, like, they don't want to be included, they don't want to participate, but we don't actually understand. We don't go and take one extra step to say why you don't want to be included. Like, why do you don't like to be part of the activity? Because we make our judgment. We offered something, they didn't have it, our job is done. No, your job is not done because you didn't actually hear. Do they like this activity? Is this for them? Do they feel safe or do they feel comfortable? For example, through Girl Power, we do activities in refugee centers. And myself usually go in a refugee center, offer the activities. Many times when we offer the activities, organize the activities in a refugee center, we do for the mixed gender, and where we see very limited number of women participating. And I know from the culture I come from, the women really like those type of activities, like if it's music, it's dance and all these activities. But because man is present on those activities and women don't feel comfortable, based on the culture, based on how we, like the social, like culture aspect of how we brought up, the women don't feel comfortable. They feel shy, they feel afraid, they're so insecure because if they go in an activity and dance, or maybe their dress is not like proper, maybe someone will take photo, put on a social media, then the families that they have in Afghanistan or in Syria, whatever, they will start attacking, blaming, or harassing that woman. So that is the challenge. That's why they are so afraid. It's not because they don't want to or they are lazy people, because most of the time I have had this conversation. Oh, they're so lazy. They just want to sleep, eat, and just spend a lot of money from the government. No, that is the challenge. The other thing is we are not in a position to force people to integrate and also to be part of like a mixed group. Because of like what I said about my story last night, I come from a country where most of refugees today in Europe are, from Afghanistan, where women have very difficult time to even participate and practice their very basic human right, which is working, studying, going to sports, going to school. This is like the basic challenge. When they come to a European country, first of all, they're called refugee. The other thing is like they're struggling with identity. They don't know where we belong to. Should we go out and too much integrated, or should we stay back? We don't know where to go, and they're not sure about it. So they are just in a panic because they're afraid that their culture, the people from their culture will blame them that, oh, you're so westernized, you're brainwashed, now you're not part of us. They're afraid of this. And then they have also pressure from their family, like the mothers, the fathers who are 70 years lived on that culture where they come from. So this child, this young girl, are in between and are scared. And then we are in society, when we provide activities, mixed activities, sometimes we push them, force them to join. One of the example I would say, in 2015, Girl Power started a swimming activity for newcomers, refugees, or minorities who had difficult to go to your swimming because of cultural barriers and social barriers. So this 1 hour time in the swimming pool was just for the women, and no man was allowed. Everything was beautiful, perfect. Women were coming, they were practicing, they were swimming, they were learning swimming. And after 2 months, there was a demonstration in the local community saying, the local women in the community were saying, we fought so hard for the inclusion and participation and participation of mixed gender. And these people are coming from this culture, and now they are taking us back to the history. In a way, they're right. Yes, they fought so hard that they don't make this separation. But the other hand, these women need to get out first. Second, they need to meet each other to build a network. And third, once they have self-confidence, they know enough about society and culture, then they let them to make decision if they want to participate with man, if they want to go in a mixed gender activities, or they don't want. But we don't give them the space. We just want them to just get integrated, otherwise there's no space for you. Then they will leave outside alone. One other thing is that there are so many programs that's offered also by Erasmus Plus and a lot of integration programs. And that's for young people, for children. What we are missing in this, the programs for mothers and fathers, for the people who have actually the decision-making right. They have huge influence on their children, on the decision of their children, on the decision of young people. And they are left alone. For example, in Denmark, there is no program for my mom. There is no integration program for my father. They're just by themselves. They are just stuck on the history, where they come from, the culture. Because there is no program that they are integrated. There is nothing for them. But there are many activities, for example, for young girls, young boys, the children. They're just left by themselves, and they kind of stuck in the culture where they try to push pressure on their kids, saying, because they don't get the awareness, the opportunity to learn the culture, the new culture, the opportunity to understand the European culture. So they watch the channels from the country. They come with the culture where they come from. They're just in their own little world, like little Afghanistan, little Syria, little Kurdistan. That's where they are living. And they are making life so difficult for their kids, saying, no, you're not listening to me. You're just so like brainwashed. You have to be careful. It's about the honor. It's about the respect. It's about the culture where I'm coming from. Because and then the children or the young people going outside, they're going to school, and then the school says like, no, you're not part of us, you look different, you're having different color, you're not part of us. And this woman goes in at home, the father says, or the family says, you're too westernized. And that's why the teenagers, the young people have really difficult time to understand where they belong to. They go home, our parents really frustrated, they go outside, the society don't respect and accept them. They say, you're not part of us. And they're just by themselves. And most of this anger challenges that come in the society, and you see sometimes so much hate, because they are just left by themselves, they're miserable. And they are just angry because they don't belong to anywhere. And especially the kids that is born and raised in Europe, especially in Denmark, like from my experience in Denmark, many kids born and raised especially from Syria recently, they grew up in Denmark. And I asked one of the young 10 years old kid, and I said like, where are you from? I thought like she's from my country. But I was also embarrassed why I asked that question. And she said, I'm from Denmark. And I said, like, why you're in refugee center? She said, like, it's because the government took back our asylum and said, like, you can go back to your country, it's safe. And the mother says, like, we are from Syria. And the kid says, like, I don't know why I'm in the refugee center. So this is the people, this is the young generation that grew up in a society where they are miserable, they are having difficult time with their identity to understand where they belong to. And we don't really into integration process. We don't get the families, the father and the mother with us to help them to understand and integrate so they can make their life for their kids easy. Because what is happening, the kids having two identities. One, the real Muslim, like the look like, to show the parents, to get the acceptance of the parents, because our culture is really tough. And because like we are a very family oriented culture, we cannot just leave and say like we are 18 years old and we have nothing to do with you. The parents and the family has so much influence. So we try to show we are a good girl to our family, all the things that they want, and then we go outside in order to fit to this culture. Then we have to change our outfit, everything to just be accepted in the society where they don't accept us. In the end, like we are standing here feeling so tired of pretending and acting all the time just to be accepted. So this is one of the biggest challenges that youth are facing, and the crimes that are happening, especially the teenagers and young people are involved. It's because of so much anger, because we don't really give them the time to understand why they are doing this. And we are also missing the parents and the parent programs for parents into integration programs, into inclusion programs. Thank you so much. My time ran, and they said like I have to stop, otherwise they will shut this down. I'll call Adnan in the stage.
Yeah. Thank you ever so much. The more I hear you speak, the more I want to hear. So we have time now for some questions from the audience. And this is your opportunity to just delve more into what you've heard. We've got about 15 minutes from this. So our gentleman with the mic, we have our first question here.
Thank you very much. The first thing I picked up from our first speaker was the importance of including refugees as equal partners and involving them at the outset from planning. And from our second speaker, really about identity crises and a sense of belonging. So one of the things that we do, one of the things I'm picking up from you, is we talk a lot about how important it is to create tolerance, understanding, awareness, education, and involvement of refugees in any programs from the outset, from the planning stage. I just wondered if either of you have got any really good examples of how you've done that, that we can learn from, about how we go about creating the right environment to let programs happen.
Let's go ahead.
I mean, we have a lot of programs that we run actually under, like, with that perspective. Mainly what we do is when we try to create need-based, meaningful programs and activities. That means when you want to design meaningful need-based, that means you had to have focus groups, meetings, interviews with the target group that you work with on their issues right here, right now, because we have to remember, you know, we put everyone in one box and we move them to the next box. Now you are asylum seeker. Now and you know, the challenges that an asylum seeker facing right here, right now, at this stage is different than what he's facing after his first rejection, after the second rejection, when he's facing deportation, if he gets residence, become newcomer, you know. So this is why you have always to, you don't marginalize and put everyone in one box. You have really to work on creating that. I can call that we have a lot of, for example, in Sweden, in Stuttgart, we're working on that approach with, there is a program, projects called Refugee Ed. We have the V project in Sweden, you know. So this is what we do. And then after we get the conclusions out of these focus groups, we start to the fundraising part, where we apply for applications, or we try to get funds for it. And then this is what we do actually for me and my colleagues, and I'm very happy in 6 years we could change how we work with that matter in Save the Children, with the support group network, with other partners. I think we influence a lot of partners that we work with in the last few years, that, you know, when we get the fund, directly we try to locate leaders from the community, people that we think that they can lead with us the projects, you know. We hire them. We hire them, not take them only as volunteers, you know. Very important, because I have been in a setting, and I'm sorry, I have been in a setting where big organization, sitting with self-organized refugees who really do a lot of activities, you know, who organize things and saying, oh, you know, we have the money, but we have problem. We can't find someone locals to hire to do this program, to implement these programs. And the refugees sitting and saying, hello, we are here. We're talented, we have the skill. We've been running so we have to go out of the mindset. Hire them, give them the trainings, give them the skills, resources, information, and let them lead the projects with you. So this is a simple, yes.
To add on what Adnan said, I think the inclusion and also giving the opportunity to lead and role modeling is very, very important. We need good examples of role models where, for example, refugees, minorities see and connected to the people. For example, I go on every weekend, I train the refugees in the refugee center where I used to live. I know that, like, the women there, they love music. And beside that music, we play football and we dance. They didn't like to be outside. That's why they were left. They didn't want to train outside in the area, open area in the center. I had to really fight to say, like, they need a kind of a protective space so they can explore, they can stay together, and they feel like safe. That nobody's taking video of them, nobody's taking photo of them, and they feel safe about it. And the participation really increased. We had like 2-3 girls in the beginning when I started. Now it's more than 40 girls, and sometimes it's difficult to coach them. There's so many girls. So we kind of like organize the activities where they say, for example, we are in the mood to dance. So I just changed the activity. So to give them the opportunity, okay, it's you actually leading. I'm not coming with the full program to you, but it's us together, we are doing this activity. And that's why they're committed to activities. The other thing is giving the opportunity. And I always say that everybody love or like the light to shine on them, but it will be great if we share the light with others. I felt I didn't want to actually establish my own organization. I participated many times in many activities where I felt I was used. I felt like someone took me, take some photos. Oh, refugee, I'm like I was a cheerleader, a good story and cheering, and then left me there. And even sometimes they took me from the refugee center, and I was a refugee. I didn't have pocket money to pay for my bus. They took me, they put me in a program, they took some photos, videos, and they felt so good about themselves, put a good story of me on their website, and then left me in the street, and I had didn't know how to get back to the refugee center. I want to give, I organized my own organization, established my organization to share the platform, the opportunity. And today, so many women sitting here to get the opportunity to say, like, let's share the light to shine on each one of us. We have our unique stories. We have our unique talent. Why can't we share? That's what I want also from all the organization involved. I love the people who are really taking initiative to organize activities for us. But in our cultures, women were seen very weak. And if you as a European woman come and do activities and to show to our man that, yes, we are the strongest, they always see us down. It will not help us. But if you really want to help me, like first facilitate, help me to get the tools what is needed. And let's share the stage if you want to be also, or sometimes it will not take a lot from you, just to stay and be in my bag and let me to stay here. So the man also in my culture, but also the women see, oh, I have also the power. The women of color can also be a leader, can also be a strong woman. So that is what I want, like from many people and also through my organization. I want everybody to participate and have their own light to shine on them. That's the most important thing. If you want to support, let's share the light. So don't like take us, take photos, use our stories and oh, sorry, and then go another project. We are supporting refugees. At the end of the day, nobody actually, the refugees don't get even anything from that. And they're left alone. Sometimes they have difficult time how to go on a rainy day back to the refugee center. Sorry.
Let's have this gentleman in the green, if that's okay. This gentleman in the green with the yellow bag. Just try again.
No, okay. Just on that question of representation or self-organized migrant or ethnic minority refugee organizations. I think we have, I'm from Vienna. I'm from the Fair Play Initiative Spin Network. And we have this situation that we work with an organization of Afghan refugees. They established themselves as a cultural organization. They manage now very with a lot of passion to get established as a sport organization in this traditional hierarchy of sports. And of course, they face a lot of conservatism. It was difficult, to establish themselves. And I think now the question is really how can this model be replicated, how more self-organized migrant organizations can enter the organized sport. And I can just foresee that this is also then about power and resources and sharing. And the question would be, how can we work to have a kind of mind change or policy change in the sport organizations who used to be still used to be very white dominated. So how would you, or the two of you, would see in the next steps things which would make a change?
I mean, thank you. Very important question, because you touched upon two things. Not only participation on activity level, but in policy making level, you know, how we can open space for refugees to participate. And this is very important. And I think, as you know, the European Action Plan on Integration that adopted on November last year, and it's for 7 years as a direction for all the member states, you know, one of the most important part of it is, and the funds come out of it with AMIF, goes big part of it on participation of refugees on a policy level. You know, it's not enough that only we make places for refugees to participate on activity level or on ground level, but also in policy level. You know, so one of the tools that can be used to duplicate these examples, you know, to build those groups' capacity to network, build this group's capacity to inspire others. When we started in the biggest asylum camp called Resta Gurd in Sweden, in Vänersborg, you know, the first thing that Save the Children, they came and they want to do activities there. They found us doing everything. They asked us, what you need? We say we want to duplicate that model to other places, because we have friends, we have family members in other camps who are in desperate needs to this kind of work. So they give us resources, you know, they give us resources and they employ me to duplicate that model to other places. In 6 months, we were able, by the right resources, and by the right resources and networks. We used Save the Children networks. They're members, you know, they have our members everywhere. So we used these resources to duplicate, and we were in 6 months working in 16 municipalities around Sweden. Right now, Support Group Network works in Germany, in Norway, and they had their first project in Turkey. They had, you know, started, they are a refugee-led organization, and they had, I mean, you know, in Sweden, 32, they have 23 employees. It's a big number. It's not, it's a huge number. So, I mean, providing the right network for them and opportunities to network and the resources to duplicate that model, and, you know, providing also the right tools for them to model that. Because what we did, we created a model, we call it React, that you can contextualize it to different places where people can have the opportunity to have the same approach when you work with refugees in different places. So this is my tip for like how you can duplicate that model in different places. Yes.
I think like in addition to that, I want to just add one more thing, is that we should also make sure like to get the attention of media, because media plays a major role in storytelling and also sharing and inspiring others. If we have in our programs, we have, for example, great stories, great talent coming from refugees or minorities, and because they are hidden, and a lot of, as I said also before, there's a lot of negativity around minorities and refugees, immigrants. When we see such talent, such good stories, we have to take initiative to push it to the media, to tell, and so to get media attention, to tell their stories. That's also our contribution to inspire others to follow their journey and to see them as role models.
Okay, so I think we have time for one last question. So we'll just go with this gentleman here. Should be on.
I hope so. Yeah. Khalida, you spoke. It is on. Yeah. You mentioned the importance of including parents or the adults in sports activities, because there are less sports activities for this type of public. And I was wondering, what would you advise organizations and local government foundations who want to focus on this target group? Because I also have the impression there's a lot of sports for development for kids and youngsters, but less indeed for adults or parents.
I will use the example of how I did the activities in Afghanistan when I got the parents on board to support their daughters, to get their daughters on to play football. or get to access to sports was I was organizing activities like sometimes gathering or festivals where it was fun activities, fun sports activities. It was which included also family gathering and activities and networking for the families, where we invited them, made the space for the parents, for the families, for the brothers, sisters to come and join, so they could see their daughters playing and see that they are performing, they're happy, and also the people that are working with them to get the connection and also trust. It's very important, like, because the parents that are coming from cultures like Afghanistan, they are very protective. They are afraid that it's not safe for their kids to go there, to be part of activities. But once they join, they see, okay, who are their kids dealing with, what type of environment they are playing or having activities, then they feel more comfortable. They feel like they are connected, so they are aware. They want to be involved. Most of the time, we don't want the parents to be directly involved, but it's good sometimes to organize the festivals, activities, to get them on board, to see the activities, but also some sort of workshops from time to time to understand the importance of sports, importance of integration, inclusion, and also the challenges that their kids may face if they are just isolated. So we need to get them on a journey to understand why it's important, what is this side effect if you really don't collaborate and cooperate. Thank you.
I just want to add on that, this is something actually, because thank you so much for bringing, because this is something I have been discussing with colleagues from Move Beyond project, we did 2 years with Ishka. For the last 2 days, actually, we were talking about this topic, about, family and men, especially, that left out of all kind of integration projects. There is some like shy projects to work with, like a lot of with children and young people, but not with women, some, but not with men, not with elderly men. They were left, they lost their position in the family. They're living, as you said, in the history, and the problem is that we have been talking, from refugee perspective with the organization, that if you want to work with women rights, make men ambassadors for women rights. This is the best that you can do. Start to work on men fear. Start with the men, because if you turn a man to ambassador for women rights, here where you can break communities, you want to work with children, make the parents want to work on children rights and child rights convention, make parents, both parents from the, advocate and ambassadors for child rights convention. This is very important aspect that we have to really focus on and start to work with. I mean, in different countries.
Okay, perfect. Since we have very little time and we cannot have more conversation, I want to invite one of the most amazing, talented young women that I admire and inspire of her talent. And she is here representing Girl Power. I want to give this opportunity for all of us to see her talent. You also need to follow her on social media. She's one of the great person with very young age, have many followers, but what I love the most about her is her humbleness, her kindness, her leadership. I want to invite her on stage. It's Maimi Asghari to come on stage and perform with the ball and take us to the different level and show the skills that she has. Thank you.
That was very cool. Thank you. So what we're going to move to after lunch will be a series of kind of mini workshops run by refugee leaders themselves. So before lunch, we wanted to introduce them and to give them an opportunity just to tell you a little bit about those little mini workshops that they'll be running, because you will need to choose which one you would like to go to. So what's going to happen is we're going to invite each one of them onto stage. They're going to tell us a little bit about the workshop, and then we'll move on to the next. So there are 6 different options for after lunch. We'll put this slide back up later with some numbers on it, so you don't need to remember the specific details. We'll make it easy for you. Okay, so first, I would love to welcome to the stage, have we got the microphone? We've got the mic, great. I would love to welcome Mayami Asagari. Thank you, Mayami. Yeah, she's back. Tell us a little about her workshop. Your microphone is here.
Hey. Okay, is it on? Yeah, nice. My name is Mayami. I am 23 years old and I'm from Denmark. I'm originally from Iran, so I'm a minority in Denmark. I have grown up with a lot of discrimination. It wasn't easy being a minority hijabi woman playing football in a country as Denmark. So the thing I do today is, I'm a TikTok influencer with about 140K followers on Instagram too. So I post different football and freestyle videos, try to overcome different discrimination I face. I try to make it easier for the next generation so they don't face the same thing as I and my friends did. So yeah, my workshop is going to be about overcoming challenges such as discrimination. So yeah, come on. Thank you.
Next, I would love to welcome to the stage Sarah Akabults and Shubham Ruhin. There it is. There should be a microphone for you just there.
Yeah, hello, my name is Shabnam Ruhin. Yes, I'm representing a girl power organization in Hamburg. I played soccer for the Afghanistan women's national team, and me and Sarah, we are coaching together in Hamburg young girls with immigrant backgrounds, and yeah.
Yeah, we are encouraging these girls to be more themselves and be more self-aware and to include them in society where they have problems to include with. And I'm Sarah, I'm also from Girl Power, from Khalida. And I also play soccer, and long time we played together. And yeah, and our topic is leadership and empowerment, and we would like to see many faces if you can join us.
Thank you.
Okay, our third workshop will be led by Gerald Mbale. Gerald. Oh, he sneaked on this side. Let's just find your mic.
Thank you very much. Yeah, I am Gerald Mbale. I am the advisor of Unified with Refugee Sport Programming on behalf of Special Olympics Europe Eurasia. I'm a refugee, but I always like to present myself like this because I know the refugee situation is temporary. And today, with a lot of insights and best practices we have had from our great leaders, Khalida Popal and Adnan, that are great inspiration for me. It makes me believe that what I said back in 2015 when I arrived at the seaside in Sicilia, that I was not a victim. Even though I was considered a victim, I always say I'm a survivor. And today I realize that I am a winner. So I'm very happy to be here. I will use the little time that I have to open a bracket and extend my great spirit of solidarity for our brothers and sisters which are stuck in the borders between Poland and Belarus. Right now, I know what it means. Winter is coming, it's very cold, and I hope the best for them. So my topic is gonna be about stakeholder and impact. And I welcome you to come and share with me and look for solutions. We're gonna try to work on the challenges and solution and see how we can impact communities in a great way. So I'm waiting all you guys. Switch here when we'll put our workshops position. We are waiting you to come in a very massive way. If you can call all of you, I'm very happy to have you.
It was a good pitch. I liked it. Zina Mameri, you are our next one. Thank you. Welcome, Zina.
Thank you. Thank you, Ishka, for the opportunity. Today, I'm not the manager of Football Mass, but I'm an Algerian girl. I'm representing 33 nationality. I work with family, children, and minors. وهلا هحكيكم إنه الرياضة بتساعد كثير ناس. En plus, الغاشي وفهم من والو. Donc, تعاوني في الصحة, mental health and réfugiés et demandeurs d'asile. Did you get something? A little French? I speak 3 languages, Arabic, Berber, and little French. That's the reality of a lot of people who arrived in a housing country. This is one of the challenges we face in every time in the field. So thank you, Adnan and Khalida, for bringing the field here today. So my topic is how, no, je sais plus. Donc, that's the faces I see now, that's the reality I see every day, okay? So my topic is inclusion and insertion through sports. And we will not speak about what Union Europeans say, we will speak about the reality. The reality is do you really think that sports includes people? How can we really do that? Because there is, I don't say perspective, I will say my point of view. There is a lot of organization thought that giving access to sport and giving them the opportunity to play football or anything of sport and just entertainment, sport is more than that. So if you come in my topic, we'll discover together. Welcome everybody.
Next, I'd like to welcome Nagin Ravand.
Okay, my name is Nagin. I'm 22 years old. Fled to Denmark with my family from Afghanistan when I was 3. We went through a lot. I was born in Iran. So what does that make me? Iranian, Afghan, Danish, that's something we will talk about. But the main topic is representation, because to me, that's a keyword. I believe representation is key. I believe enlightening the good stories is what we need. The next generations need someone to look up to them. They need someone who have fought the battles, made them a little bit easier day by day until one day there are no battles. I hope one day to become a professional football coach and coach the Afghanistan national women's team. That dream was just set back 20 years, but it does not make me stop, because I'm still fighting for it, fighting to achieve my dreams so that the next generations also see the possibilities in dreaming and that it is possible. So let's talk about representation.
And finally, I'm not sure he needs another introduction, but come on, Adnan, come and tell us about your workshop number 6.
Yes, so basically we're gonna, this is because I'm very happy we got a question around participation in policy making. So we're gonna discuss together how we can make it possible for refugees to participate on a policy level in sports, in municipalities, regions, national and European level. So we're gonna work together on what we can do, how we can work together to make it possible. So you're welcome to the workshop with me. Thank you so much.